Hello, 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 and welcome to the Healing Collective Live. I have with me today NaKeesha Hayes, the metaphysician. Yes. And I'm so excited. We met some time ago, and since then, we have been saying, yes, we can't wait to have this podcast. And here we are, ready to get right into it.
And I love it.
Yes, and the energy she displays here is the energy she has. I think it's toned down.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
NaKeesha, how are you doing? How's it going? What is new with you?
Great. Thank you so much for asking, Miss Toni. How you doing, boo? I'm so glad to
I'm
meet
doing fine.
you. We got a lot of things going on. I'm super excited that in October we're going to have a summit.
Okay.
It's going to be a Heal Summit that's going to be virtual, and it's going to be something for a 3-day weekend. So I've been planning for that, and
Okay.
a lot of new things that's happening within our company.
Okay. Okay. I want to come back to that at the end so that you can put it out there for the podcast, the Heal Summit.
Okay.
Because I want to know more about that. But let's talk about you and how you ended up in the healing space. Let's talk about your journey.
Okay. So I started off as a school teacher. That was where where everything kind of honed in. And with our company, BlackCherokee, we're aromatherapy healing a company in addition to ancestral healing as well. And the very first part was our aromatherapy process. And
Mhm.
me and my co-founder, we came to this point as we were teaching our students, and we started to realize that after recess, the kids were doing too much. It was always doing too much. There was
Always.
always at the recess during a full moon, we were clocking it. They were just doing the most. And so what we wanted to do in order to kind of combat that, and plus their little feet were kind of smelly because they were outside a lot. We started to look into essential oils and see how they would affect the children. Now, when you're a school teacher, there's certain guidelines where you can't have air fresheners and things like that. But essential
Mhm.
oils was one of the median. And so from there, we started to diffuse our essential oils, and we started to track how the children would calm down. And from that point, we were like, okay, cool. Let's try to create products revolving essential oils to help people calm down. We realized that in our studies, we realized that the sense of smell is the number one thing that triggers memories. And because that triggers
Wow.
memories, we were like, cool, that would be a great way to kind of help people relax and to kind of hone in. And through that journey, we ended up running into my holistic practitioner mentor, the one who got me into theta healing. And it was a fluke. It truly was a fluke. I ended up running into him by doing a holistic colonic, the hydrocolonic.
Right. I remember you mentioning that. You were explaining. Okay.
Yeah, so I did a hydrocolonic, and then he was like, "Well, you want to try something out?" And I'm like, "What?" And so he did muscle testing with me, where he would ask me a lot of yes or no questions, and he was showing me what the things that I had been holding on to subconsciously that I didn't know anything about. And from there, I was I'm a curious soul, and anything
Mhm. Mhm.
your headspace, your thought process, I'm all for it. Let's
Mhm.
dive in. So because he was calling out certain issues that I was dealing with at the time, he made it very simple and plain of this is what I do as a theta healer, and here's an option for you to join in. I thought, and my co-founder also thought it would be a good merge with the aromatherapy process because, again, like I stated, when you smell something, it triggers is the number one sense of memory. So adding that to the memory idea of what is being presented to me through data healing, I thought it would be a great merge. And that's how pretty much Black Cherokee as the company came about. And that's how I became a certified theta healer.
A certified, what do you call it?
Theta healer.
Theta. Now, that theta healing is pretty new to me, even though I've been around in some different religious spaces. But can you explain what it means to be a theta healer and what is theta?
Okay. So let me answer what is theta and then I'll explain how it all comes
Hmm.
together. Your theta, there's 5 brain waves in each human being. You have your delta brain waves, your theta help brain waves, your alpha brain waves, your gamma, and I'm missing one, delta, alpha, and beta, right?
Theta.
So you have these 5 brain waves, and each one are parts of your brain development. So the first one is your delta. This is when you are a infant and everything comes from just sleeping. This is where you're
Okay.
learning more, you're expressing more, and you're feeling more, and it's all about feelings, right? This is
Right,
also the
right.
space where you are in natural healing. So after you've had surgery in some way, shape, or form, what doctors do as adults, they induce this form of sleep in order for your body to start to heal itself. And the
Mhm.
next, and this is only during like the infant stage where it comes naturally for you, right? You don't have to have medicines to get there. And then the next brain wave is the theta brain wave, and I call this the God source brain wave because this is your
Mhm.
your brain wave that connects you to spirit, the other side where you have your spiritual gifts, where you when you meditate, you go into your theta brain wave as you are meditating. While you're driving, this is where your brain goes to naturally. It's a place where you
Okay.
not sleep, but you're not awake either. So it's like the middle place. This is also where you dream. This is your dream, your REM sleep, and it's just
Mhm.
theta brainwave. So that's where it comes in the spectrum of things. And a lot of times, what happens is this is the development between your infant stage of your brain to your childlike stage and teenage phase of your brain. This is where your manifestations, when you speak things out, this is where that comes from. As you get older, we end up, this part of our brain becomes dominant. Sorry. This part of your brain actually becomes dormant. As
Mhm.
you get older, you end up focusing and living automatically through your gamma waves and your beta waves. So that's how all of that comes into place. So as a theta healer, and this is tying into your next question,
Mhm. Mhm.
as a theta healer, what I do is I help people get from the gamma brain wave, which is who we are now, and the beta wave is like your motion. This is your actions. This is what you do. This is what causes you to be alert. And your gamma waves is where your stress waves come from. This is where you're taking in information, and then your beta is your reaction. And so a lot of
Okay.
times as adults, we end up staying in the gamma and the beta. So we're always taking in information and reacting, but we don't allow ourselves to get past the alpha wave down to the theta wave where we can just be.
I like that, NaKeesha. Yeah. Okay.
And so I hope people get to that point where you are not allowing what's going on in your reflectors through your vision, but you're accepting the position where you are, and you are accepting the fact that you are a spiritual being living in this outside environment and outside world where you can have the power and know that you have that power to profess the things that you desire without anything holding you back. And this is where the full alignment comes into place when I deal with data healing, when I'm helping people through data healing space.
Now, did you get more involved in this before or after your near death experience?
I got more involved in this. I've always been involved in the theta healing space in a sense.
Right.
I'm a spiritual person. I've always been a spiritual person. It's in my family. It's in my bloodline.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it's always been. My near death experience kind of solidified that because, again, as adults who get older and we get classified as certain things, everybody is in certain categories. And I didn't want to be deemed as crazy.
Okay.
I've been the outcast all my life prior to my near death experience. I've always been the outcast, and it forced
Why?
me because I'm a military brat. The way that I
Okay.
speak, I don't fit the status quo of what when I grew up, of what a black woman looks like or a black little girl looks like.
Gotcha.
So because of those past issues, it was always, I don't want to be even more of an outcast by revealing that this is what I can do. And so when I had the near death experience, that kind of changed everything where I don't really care. And I'm like,
Mm.
well, it don't matter at the end of the day. This is what you're going to get. This is what I can do. And I'm here to help you. And if you want the help,
Mhm.
I'm here for it. And if you don't, I'm still going to be here for it.
When you said that, this is what I can do. Are you talking about your third generation seer ability?
Yes, ma'am. So when it comes down to me, my grandmothers, both on both sides, both of my grandmothers were able to see things. And they were also able to feel things. And they were also in the church. They were prophets in their own right. They would do
Mhm.
certain things that would connect them to the spirit, which would allow them to be of help and service to our family as a whole. My mother, same thing. My dad, he and I, we talk about this all the time. My dad was out to sea in 1986, and he was a part of the USS Stark, and it's a ship that was blown up in the Middle East. And he
Mhm.
went away for 15 months. We didn't know if he was dead or alive. And the reality was, my mom, she kept saying that I really feel like your dad is great. An angel came to me. I saw the wings. The angel wings were gray, and it was so beautiful and majestic. And I just know that your father's going to be just fine. And within that time, my dad did come back. But that's another thing. Like, these are things that in my family was accepted, but we couldn't share these things with a lot of people outside of our family because we would be deemed again as, a little woo woo, a little crazy.
Mhm.
All the
Mhm.
labels, something that we really, it's a gift.
It's a gift.
It's a gift.
How old were you when you realized, "Well, I have the gift too?"
I was about 6 years old, and I'm so glad that you asked that because I forgot about this. I was about 6 years old, and I used to hear voices all the time, and I'm like, "Mommy,
Mhm.
I hear this person is saying, calling out to me, like, Mommy, who are these people?" And she was like, "Oh, baby, now, mm-mm, we can't." And I said, "Well, who are they, Mom?" And she was like, "They're the dead, and you're not supposed to, respond to them. You're supposed
Communicate.
to act like, they don't exist because they're evil and they're demonic. So you don't want to dilly dally in that." And so it's like, "Oh, okay." So I would hear them, but I would never
Mhm.
respond to them
Okay. Did it scare you as a child?
all the time because I would see things, I could hear things. I used to see music in color. I used to see words in color.
Mm. Mhm.
I used to see musical notes. Like, I remember seeing them in the air and they would just be just rainbow colors. And I would always stay so fascinated in that. I was like, I see color in the way that you.
Mhm.
And because it was one of those things that I was pushed down, like, "No, don't do that. That's not okay. Don't do that." I kind of lost that ability and it wasn't cultivated.
Okay. Okay. Wow. I mean, the story, you being a teacher, having an MBA and a theta healer, and it's amazing. It
Thank you.
really is. Theta. I was just talking with someone about how in a lot of cases, in all of the cases actually, we are being programmed to think a certain way, to act a certain way, to believe because we are a certain gender, we should do this, believe because we are a certain color, we should be like this. So I believe that our programming often gets in the way of our internal of who we are. So for you, how does that conflict with your spiritual gifts? Because I do believe they're spiritual gifts.
And I would totally agree. Especially, remember when I told you about the 5 brain waves, right? You have your gamma
Mm-hmm.
and your beta. So those 2
Mm-hmm.
always go back and forth. And before my near death experience, I would always try to find the reasoning or the why of things. I'm naturally an analyst. I'm a Virgo, so I
Mm-hmm.
analyze everything down to the minute thing where it's being mundane
The details of the
of
details.
the details. I do the most. And I've learned throughout my journey to allow myself the grace to find the actual point of origin, right?
Mm.
But also in that same respect to allow myself to realize and know that even though I might have found this point of origin, nothing is absolute.
Mhm.
Nothing is absolute. So that's where the connection between your gamma and your beta brainwave and your theta brainwave comes and merges together because you come into the acceptance of, yes, this is my knowing. Yes, this is what I've learned. Yes, this is what I've discovered, but this is not always the norm. And you have to leave yourself open to the possibilities of miracles. And that's what I
Mm.
try to provide to all of my clients by helping them realize this is what your theta brainwave does for you. What you
Mhm.
see, it is a fact what you see, but it does not mean that this the end all be all. And I apply that
Oh,
same concept to myself.
okay. Now, you've talked about generational gifts and generate being able to have the gift of a seer being passed down. Let's talk about generational trauma. How do you use your gift to help your clients with the generational trauma?
So when it comes down to utilizing my gifts to find the generational trauma, again, I can hear things. Sometimes I can see things, but through my skilled practice as a certified theta healer, and I call myself a belief worker because it is a little bit more palatable.
Mhm,
Theta might scare people. So I try to
mhm.
make sure that I'm open to the people that I want to be my clients. But when it comes down to the generational part and my gifts coming together, being able to see the dead, to hear the dead, and accepting that I see and hear the dead, what I see in our sessions is the issues that their family members might have had. And that can go back. I'm at 4 generations and in the soul's past lives. So when I see people
Mm.
past lives and their generational makeup on the spiritual side, it goes further back, even down to their soul. And they show me through tribal images or tribal,
When you say they show you, the person or the spiritual being, who's showing you?
the ancestors, they show me.
Okay,
They show me, it's like I open myself up to be a conduit. And
okay,
what they do is because when I ask people, I have to ask for permission before I enter anybody's spiritual space. I don't want to know if I don't have permission. And so
right.
what it does is it connects us together for a moment. And I'm literally a conduit to see their family members and hear what their family members want to say to them. And in order for me to get connected to their this person that I'm doing the one-on-one session with, their ancestors will show me small little details of what they did in their lives in order for that person to believe that I am seeing one of their family members.
Wow, wow.
'Cause it's never about me, and I know
Mhm,
every
mhm.
single time is your session is not about me. Your session is about you and the things you have in your life and what you want to attain and inspire to be. In the same breath, because of a lot of the things that we have here in the United States and globally, we don't have community. So a lot of people are walking around here assuming that they're completely alone, that they
Yes,
don't matter.
that's real.
Have a one-on-one session with me and I tell them about their aunts and their uncles and their grandmas and their grandpas and their best friends or their boyfriends that might have, got unalived in some way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying? They are so surprised. They're like, oh my God, I didn't expect you to see that person.
Mhm,
I didn't expect this person to be around. And you see them? And it gives them a sense of understanding that they truly do matter generationally. At the end of the day, this is not just about you. You are the forefront of your family, but your family
mhm,
still rock with you because they are located and embedded in your DNA. And that's
mm.
not a question that you're asking me, but I feel like it kind of fits in this space. There are two sides of you, right? And all of us have this. We have our spiritual side, and then we have our DNA side. And that's the same thing when it comes down to our family. When our family is here on this earth, they leave us with a blueprint of what they went through and the struggles and the experiences that they went through in our blood. It's located in
Mm,
our DNA. There's nothing we can do about it. It comes with us when we were born. But the thing
mm,
have that separation and they pass over on the other side, they see things more clearly because they've gone back to love. They've gone back to God. They've gone back to source. They've gone back to the creator of all things. And they know all timelines. They see everything at the same time. They know past, present, and future at the
mhm, mhm,
and because they know these things, when I see them, I'm talking to the flesh version of them, the things that they went through that caused these traumas to happen in their lives. I'm talking to that person when I'm speaking to the one, the person who books their one-on-one session with me. But their spirit, their family comes into play and they're like, well, I understand this is what I did on earth. And I know that you're still dealing with this in your life. But from the other side, give me the opportunity to receive the forgiveness for something that I really didn't have control of or had no knowing of. And by
Uh,
forgiveness, they're able to work fluidly through you from the connection of that bloodline and the soul, which makes you a powerful being and aligns you from your gamma brainwave down to your theta, even your delta, where you can have full access to your free will.
wow. When you talked about the bloodline, so do you believe that trauma actually lives in our body, our biology?
Absolutely. And it's
Okay.
been proven through epigenetics, even though through epigenetics they can't really utilize humans, use it, their testing through animals.
Hmm.
A lot of studies show that epigenetics, the trauma that people experience, which is about 14 generations of trauma embedded in each one of us, that trauma is given to us when we come into this earth. And that trauma is expressed through our actions, our family's actions, and how they relate to us. And because of their actions, we adopt those things as though it is fact. And so we end up living those things as though it is fact, when in actuality, that's not the case. It's conditioning.
Can you share a story or an example?
Yeah. So I like to use the elephant. A lot of people know about the gnats, but I like the elephant. What?
I don't know about either. So,
Okay, I got you. I like the elephant. So when back in the days when they had like circuses,
okay.
because they're not here anymore, but when they had circuses, what they would do in order to train an elephant is, as a child or as a baby elephant, they would have these rings that they would put the baby elephant in. If that baby elephant crosses over that ring, what they'll do is they'll pop that elephant and that elephant get hurt in some kind of way. And so as time goes on, they are conditioned never to break this ring. This ring is thin. And as they get older, the elephant, and we know an elephant's memory, it lasts like, I think it's like 80 years or something like that.
Mm,
As the elephant gets older, the elephant now has been trained not to break away from this ring, because what will happen is they'll get abused in some kind of way. And as they get older, they end up training their children the same way, therefore taking the reins off of the circus master from training this elephant, because now the mommy elephant is trained and the mommy elephant ends up training the baby elephant, and that baby elephant does the same thing. So this becomes a cycle, not knowing their own strength, not knowing that all they have to do is just move their legs out the
rip
way
that.
and rip it out the whole thing, and they can be complete,
Mhm.
and they got to deal with all of that. But because
Right.
they were trained as a child or as a baby,
Programmed.
they've
Mhm.
been programmed and understood, like, hey, you know what? I can't leave here. I don't want to do this. And it's the same thing that happens to us as human beings.
That programming, and it kinda sticks with us.
Conditioning, absolutely.
Right.
The mental
Right.
conditioning. Hmm. And so
Mm.
that's what I help to alleviate. I help people to realize this is a mental condition, and it's not a mental condition as far as an illness. This is a mental conditioning that
Mm.
you have the option to choose of whether or not, now that you know what it is, you have the option to choose to let it go, or you can continue to live in the same space.
Now, with your work with clients, specifically African American women, do you see a lot of that conditioning about how we look, what we accept as beauty standards, and all of those things?
It's more along the health issues.
Explain.
Heart disease runs rampant in the Black community in general, right?
Right.
Women is one of the highest, right? And a lot of times, when it comes down to the Black women that I work with, they've had a lot of heart issues, meaning like broken heart, having a broken heart, or not feeling that they're good enough, or feeling that they
Oh,
become certain things. Like they always have to fight. And these are the things, and I do want to say this. The difference in what I do is I don't just address the trauma of things,
okay.
because the trauma is actually a belief. Like breaking generational curses, that's a belief, right? It's not a curse, it's a belief. And so
Mm.
because of that, what I do is I dispel the idea. I'm like, you know what, this is not what that is. And I dispel the woo-woo-ness of it. And this is where the logical part comes into place. And I explain to them logically, your grandmother had a broken heart. And because your grandmother had a broken heart, this is what happened with your mom. And your mom and your grandmother ended up in the same kind of relationship because this is the belief that your grandmother created, that your mom inherited, and you now have to deal with. It was given.
Mhm.
And now that we are at this point in your one-on-one session, you have a decision to make. Do you want to continue to live like your grandmother did? Or do you want to change and break that and create something new and evolve? And so that's one of the things that I deal with, especially with breast cancer, same thing. These things,
Yeah, right.
diabetes, it runs rampant. And all of these
Right.
beliefs that have been
High blood pressure. Yeah.
pressure, that the
Yes.
tensions, all of
You
the
know that's in your
that's
family.
in your family. And
Cut back on that salt.
right. Let go of the salt. And it has nothing to do with the salt. The reality is
Mhm.
your mom and your grandmother were walking around here with a broken heart that they did not want to address. Unforgiveness that they did not want to find out more. They didn't want to release it. They did everything to protect you. Right? It's never anything that's out of spite. Their overall
Right,
objective
right.
is never out of spite. Their overall objective is to make sure you stay safe. That's the reality. But they didn't know the tools. They didn't have the tools in order to make sure that they stay safe and you stay safe. So what they did
Mhm.
was, a lot of times, this is where the family secrets come in. They would hide these things, and you would look at the hidden parts that they were trying to hide. But as children, we know something's wrong. And so
Right.
actions would do certain things. And you never understood what the actions for. You just took it as fact. And those actions are the subconscious communications that they give to us who we are today. And those are the beliefs that we've inherited and allowed to be a part of our lives. Generational trauma, or the generational curses.
Yeah, because in the community, we talk a lot about the generational curses. That's a generational curse. We go to church so that we can break that generational curse.
It literally drives me crazy. Like, y'all, we have so
Mm.
much more power than what
Mhm.
we give ourselves credit for.
You're
And
giving me chills with that one.
we do. Let me tell you, we all have 62 people built in our DNA. It takes
Mhm.
5 to 6, and some people assume that it's 7 generations of people to make you.
Wow.
You. And each one of them come with experiences. You are a walking miracle with a bunch of people who got your back on the spiritual side. A whole bunch
Mhm.
of people. And that doesn't even include the people that are built in from your soul. You are
Mhm.
so powerful. And in the Bible, and I'm not a biblical person, but I was raised in the church, right?
Yeah.
Bible
Yeah.
is, and the enemy is under our feet. And every time we bring up the idea, this is a generational curse, and the devil's trying to get us, and the demons, and da 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 da, you're giving something that has no power, more power than what you are. You got
Wow.
62 people rocking for you, and you're
Mhm.
and lead and being there just for everything that you do, because you are their lineage. You are the
Mhm.
focus of their idea, because you are their future. And it doesn't matter the background in which they came from, especially when it comes down from slavery and all that stuff. We all
I was gonna ask about that.
we're all mixed up. But the thing
Yeah.
is, at the end of the day, when we cross over, remember how I told you the difference between the DNA and the soul?
Right.
Cross over, it doesn't matter what color we were or what color our ancestors were. When they cross over, at the end of the day, their blood still runs in you. Their experiences still run in you, and they have to fix it. When they cross over, they have a full timeline where they get to see what happened in their life, and they have to make a valid decision to help you in order for them to move on to the next phase.
How did you learn about this? I mean, how did you know that when they cross over, they still have work to do for the ones that they left on the other side?
So
Am I saying that right?
sure,
Okay.
there's 2 phases. So a lot of times, in the Bible, in church, we've been taught, like, when you cross over to the other side, everything gonna be hunky dory, everything gonna
Yeah,
be
heaven.
grand, gonna be in heaven. And the reality is, we have been given a gift to create heaven here on earth, and that's in the Bible as well, right? And so
Mhm.
when we cross over to the other side, our obligation is to utilize our free will at its max, its full potential. God can't even touch our free will. Our free will is ours.
Right.
And through conditioning, what ends up happening, as I stated before, through the conditioning of the society that we're in, what ends up happening is all these things happen to us and we make a lot of errors and a lot of mistakes that leaves a ripple effect. So when we cross over to the other side, you know how some people, throughout time, they would say, my life flashed before me.
Yes. Yeah.
This is the life flashing before you. And I've gathered this information from two things. One, because the ancestors showed me. Like every time that I tap into somebody's ancestors, I guess the gift for me is more knowledge about what's happening
Mm.
side. And then two, there is, and I can't even remember the book, but I remember on TikTok there was this guy who was talking about soul reincarnations. And it resonated with me. And he was explaining how the soul actually reincarnates. The soul has a space here on earth in the flesh. When it crosses over, it views its whole entire life and it makes its full decision what they're going to do next. If their soul was so bad, what would end up happening is their soul, they would say, "Oh, I was horrible in this life." Well, what
Hmm.
is, because we're always forgiven. There is never a time that we're not forgiven. This is a space of learning, right?
Mm.
And in the Bible, we got so many edits, right, that takes away from that and says, hey, well,
Yes.
if you do this, da da da, then you're gonna go to hell and all this stuff. And it's not really like that. What ends up happening is when your soul, when your soul is deemed as like not fulfilling or bad, right? We'll just say bad. What ends up happening
Okay.
is your soul will go to a space where it will be completely dismantled and you only have like 10% of the original soul and you're transformed into a new soul, and that soul will be given another opportunity to be on this earth to get it right, right?
Mm.
When it comes down to the people who aren't that bad, like the family members that might have hurt you or harmed you in some kind of way when they were supposed to protect you and they chose not to because of the conditioning in which they came in, they get an option to fix it then with you, or they can have their soul come back in another life and they have to experience what they've done to you, not you per se, but what they've done to you. They would have to experience it from your point of view. And this is where the
Okay.
soul contracts come into place.
Okay. Now, the soul contracts, I've always thought that was, or in my spiritual teaching, thought it had to do with us making certain contracts with people who are alive, like a soul tie. Yeah.
That's your family.
Uh huh.
That's your family. This is where the DNA and the blood and love comes into place because you made your soul made a decision to be here. Your soul made
Hmm.
a decision to go through the lineage in which you came from because either
Okay.
they're a soul family or they have been a soul tie or a connection, a former lover at some point.
Right. Right.
It was so cool. I had a woman, two women that were on my live and I was doing an ancestral read. And one of them was a chief. Their past life, their soul's past life was a chief of this entire village. And then
Hmm.
the other girl was the concubine of this chief. And this life, they found themselves to be very friendly, but they're not romantically involved. They're just friends, right?
Right.
And they have this connection. It's like, I don't know why I have this connection with you, but I have this connection. And what I found out by doing their ancestral, under their ancestral scan, um, the chief of this village and the concubine, they had honor for the village, actually had honor for the concubine. So she didn't have those constraints. She was taken uh, she was captured because of, a war. But the reality
Right.
was
Right.
that the entire company or the entire village honored her through this connection. And so what ends up happening now as friends, they have this nice, beautiful bond. But this bond comes from this soul contract because this man vowed himself to her. He vowed himself to be her protector because he
Hmm.
honored her. And so by
Wow.
allowing these two to come together and making this connection, it made it even more a better understanding for why they had this union. It was really, really a cool thing. But that's how soul contracts come into place a lot of times for people in general from your soul.
Mm. Now, how do you tell if the person if it's a soul contract from way back when versus something that they're dealing with now? So how do you tell if they're struggling with their own pain versus a pain, an echoing pain from the past,
A lot of time.
or an echoing love, because it doesn't have to be pain. It could be an echoing love, like, you know, the chief and the concubine, they had a connection.
Mhm. Yeah. So a lot of times when you find yourself with a friend or a lover and you're like,
Mhm,
"Oh, there's something special about you," um,
mhm.
there might be some similarities. Like you might have had a trauma bond. Like that would be the best version to explain, because a lot of times people deem trauma bonds as a bad thing in a sense, only because it's only it's temporary. But a lot of times, the reason why you have this trauma bond is because there was a contract with another soul, with the opposite person with that soul. There was a contract for them to help you in some way, shape, or form. That was
Right.
their obligation. So even though you experienced even though this all happened to you, the contract was at some point in your soul's life or your current life, you made an obligation to, I'm gonna be here for this person to help them through. Because when we're on the other side, we know all things. We know past, present, and future. All
Mhm, mhm.
and so we make these decisions. We consciously make a decision through our soul to be there for that person at that time.
Now, have you witnessed any connections that have been like messy or just violent? I mean, like the chief, and I keep going back to the chief and the concubine because you gave me that one. But have you witnessed or any connections where it's been like a master and a slave?
Uh,
You have? Okay.
it was me and my co-founder, actually.
Wow.
She and I had been in odds for, this is what my mentor told me. She and I had been at odds for several lifetimes. And this lifetime, we actually found ourselves being the reverse of each other. We were the complete flip of the coin of each other. So that was a cool experience. She's still a friend of mine now, but now we've separated because of life, and life situations.
Right.
For the moment that we
Right.
were together, we were each other. We were the opposite
Mhm.
of each other in every way, shape, or form.
Wow.
Mhm.
Did you know at the time that no? Okay.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Not before it was pointed out. Okay.
Mhm.
That is interesting. I know our time is just about to be up, but couple more questions.
Okay.
What's one simple daily ritual mindset shift anyone can start today to begin healing their own lineage?
Look at the practices that your family has given you. And the ones that don't make sense, find out why, like why it came to be, how it came to be,
Mhm.
and then make the decision of whether or not you want to keep it or let it go. It's a conscious decision. You don't have to, it's not one of those things, and especially once you find out the reasons why, it makes it so much easier to let it go. And look at it from an objective point of view, not from the childlike point of view, but from you and your experiences as an adult.
Now, your words, we talked about the curses and, we haven't been using a lot of clinical terms. Do you think the words matter? The words the shifting of the language, do you think it matters?
Some regard, because me and, as you know, Dr. Berry, me and her are friends, and we
Mhm.
both doing the same exact work, but
Yes.
our dialects and the way that we deliver it is totally different. But it's the
Mhm.
exact same thing, right? She's a
Mhm. Mhm.
certified clinical licensed psychologist. I am a
Right.
certified belief worker, aka Theta Healer. And
Mhm.
everything that she talks about is everything that I say. But when I say it, I understand for me, it's not with the technicalities. My goal is to talk to people where they are in their heart and touch the
Mm.
feeling part. Dr. Berry does the same thing, but she has the capabilities to use the terms. Don't ask me, because I got a master's degree in business administration. I ain't getting no master's degree in no headspace. That ain't my thing. That ain't me.
So, NaKeesha, what does a truly healed lineage look like?
Change.
Paint a picture for us.
Change.
Change.
It's not always the easiest thing, but you can actually see the change in a person by the way that they move and the way that they accept themselves. And a lot of times we come
Mm.
into full acceptance of ourselves, and that's more like a cliche type term. But when you've taken out the time to look at yourself and accept the bad, the so-called bad, the good, the ugly, and you still like yourself, then you've done the work. You have truly
Mm,
taken the moment and done the work, and you are coming in, as people say now, your authentic self. But you have really
right.
come into the space where you are comfortable in your own skin and you've done.
Mhm.
That's what it looks like to me.
Comfortable in your own shell. I heard that earlier today. Yeah,
It's, you know,
it is universal. Tell the audience about the Healing Summit.
okay. So the healing summit is called the Hub Summit, and that's with our spiritual hub where I have a collection, my personal collection.
Mhm,
It's a collection of practitioners from all the way around the world that help
mhm,
you mind, body, and soul. Each one of us have our own specific categories in which we can help each individual. And this summit is to help show you who we are and what we do and what we have available to you as a service. We understand that as a community, it is imperative for us to mobilize, right? And to come together and to create these avenues in which people can utilize us from the medical space, because as we see right now, our medical spaces are slowly being
mm. Yep.
dissolved,
Eroded.
eroded, dissolved, imperishable.
Huh?
I don't know, but they're in a very dangerous state, right? And when it
Yeah,
comes down to Black people, right, because this is our main focus, it's open to all,
right.
but it's primarily geared to show Black people that we are here in this healing space.
And that's the Black Cherokee tribe?
Yeah, so the Black Cherokee One Tribe is the name of the company, but
Mhm.
the healing space that we have for the Hub Summit is another
Okay.
community that's separate from Black Cherokee One Tribe. And the first one is called the Healing in Black. That is all of our practitioners that come from all modalities, from Reiki healers, from Theta healers, psychologists, doulas,
Mhm,
birth doulas, and death doulas. We have 15 people that are located on that side. And then we also
mhm.
have our spiritual hub where we have a soul regressionist, a dream interpreter, and then we also have our death doula doing both sides. So it's a wonderful space that people can go to get both their mind and their body and their soul recalibrated.
Oh, I love it. I don't know if it's spiritual or what, but the folks I'm talking to seems like we're all on the same page,
Mm?
helping people because we have our own journey, but helping people heal their mind, body, and soul. So I love it.